Hello and a warm welcome back to the Big Fellas Weight Loss for Men podcast. It's me, Mark Hall, with my co-host here, Darren. How are you doing, Darren?
Yeah, really good. Thank you, mate. How are you? How's your day been?
Yeah, not bad at all. I tell you what's been going on in the last week or so. Back on it big time. I'm hitting it hard. A few personal circumstances changed and I found myself putting a little bit of weight back on. And so I had an intervention and decided I need to get back on it. And I've lost about a stone in the last 4 weeks, which I'm dead chuffed with. So I've been really hitting it hard. But this last week, I've been doing everything right. I've been working hard on it, and I weighed myself in on Monday morning, and I stayed the same. Haven't lost anything. Gutted,
Cool.
mate.
Okay, well, let's dive into that. But before we do, though, Mark, question for me. The last month has been really good, mate, and well done for that. That's really good. But what are you doing, mate? Are you, because I know you've done Cambridge diet in the past, are you back on that or are you doing something else?
Yeah, so I'm back on the Cambridge weight plan. It works for me. And like we've said on this podcast, there's lots of different ways to lose weight. And a big thing is to find what works for you. And it's worked for me in the past. And I've got the right support with it. Georgette, Louis, who's been a guest on this podcast, I've got back in touch with her. She's very supportive. And yeah, we go again. So that's what I'm doing. Having 3 products a day as meal replacements, and then having a small carb-free meal in the evening, or low-carb meal. So maybe a bit of steak and veg, a bit of chicken and salad, a bit of fish, that kind of things. Just keeping it simple. And I'm enjoying it. The first week was tough, just your body adjusting again. But once you find your flow, it's easy, but you find your rhythm and it gets easier. So, yeah, I'm back on it and I'm hitting it hard. So, yeah, but I knew this week would come and it's happened before. And it's something that I'm this time round a bit more prepared for. But I know there'll be guys listening right now that have had, like, in terms of habits and routine, had the best week. They've worked really, really hard, but they've stepped on the scales and nothing's moved. And they just thought to themselves, well, I've been working hard. I've lost a lot of weight up to this point. Why is it not carrying on? And you've hit that plateau, haven't you? And it happens. So I think we need to talk about it.
It does, mate. And, it's interesting because I think it happens no matter what you do as well. So I'll give you an example. If, I had surgery years ago now. And when I did, I assume a lot of people do the same. You join a Facebook group, and even with that extreme, even when you've had surgery, you still plateau. You don't just have that straight line down on a graph, if you like, of weight loss. It takes time, and I think this is typical of our nature as human beings, right? Is that we very much live in a society where we want everything now. We're all about quick results. We're all about, getting to where we want to be. But actually, in terms of this, it's just not realistic. It's not, your body doesn't care about that. It's just going to lose at its own pace. So for me, mate, personally, I would say to you, for the last month, well done. Don't forget the wins, because if you've lost a stone or thereabouts in 4 weeks, that is a hell of a lot of weight to lose in actually quite a short space of time. There's 12 months in a year. You can't keep that consistency going forever, because actually very soon there'll be nothing left of you. So yeah, first things first, I think if you're going through a plateau, then for me personally, it's about, I think that's a good point to reflect on how far you've come to this point. And then the second thing I'd say is I think that it's then really important to not let it ruin your diet, Mark. I really do. Like, I think the fact that you've plateaued, and I'm, as you know, Mark, I'm no doctor or anything like that. But of course, your body's going to start changing. Things are going to start happening within, and that heavy loss can't be maintained. But my question for you is, how do you feel? Are you feeling better in yourself? Because I think you generally can when you're eating well.
Yeah, and this is it. It was, everything's going well, and it was just a step on the scale and thinking, I've done nothing wrong. I don't deserve this almost. I deserve to have lost some weight because I've worked really hard. It's only because I've been down this road before that I knew this was going to come. But like I said, there's going to be some guys listening to this. This might be their first sort of foray into sort of proper weight loss. And they will think, well, I've done really, really well up till now. And then it's just stopped. And all sorts of sort of negative thoughts will go through your head. You might be sitting there thinking, fuck, am I destined to be fat? Is this just who I am? And what's the point? I can remember my dad, like, one time having this moment where he realised he was working really hard, and then one week nothing was coming off, and he got a bit upset about it, and it was just like, well, what's the point? If I'm just doing all this stuff and the weight's not coming off, what's the point? But it's that point you've actually got to sit back and realise, take this week out of it. I've lost a stone in 4 weeks. I've lost a stone in 5 weeks. Whichever way you look at that, it's a fucking great achievement. And so that is the thing. I think the other thing that you need to do is look at the other metrics. Do you look thinner in yourself? Do you feel better in yourself? That's just as important. Maybe if you haven't up until this point, and this is the week that you're on this plateau, take your measurements, measure your belly, measure your arms. Look at those. Maybe you've lost an inch or two around your belly, around your waist. There's signs that you are still making progress. I mean, the scales are just that number on that slab that we stand on once a week. Or maybe if you get a bit obsessed with it, you might stand on it more. There's another point even. How frequently are you weighing yourself? If you're weighing yourself daily or something, it's going to fluctuate. It's not great. Maybe the answer is weigh yourself less frequently. What do you think?
Yeah, definitely, mate. So first of all, I very much agree that the scales are just one metric. It's the obvious one that we always go to with weight loss, isn't it? Is and I think it's just so easy to see how successful you are with scales because you drop weight and then that's a measure of success. But you're absolutely right. You could be measuring yourself. You could be actually getting some smart scales as well. Might not be a bad shout. If you're listening to this, you've plateaued and actually you've been going to the gym pushing weights all the time. There could be so many factors. Muscle mass, as we know, weighs more. That could be a reason for plateauing. So you could have lost still quite a decent amount of body fat for that period of time that you're measuring for. But actually, if you've been working your ass off and eating loads of protein, it could be really a fantastic result for you still. As part of your diet, you might be 3-4 weeks in, you might just be getting on top of the eating side of it, and you might think, do you know what, I'm going to whack up my water intake, which again we know aids weight loss. But of course, the more you put in, I'm sure that will have an impact as well potentially. So that I totally agree with you. I think there's a lot of factors here. And the other thing I just wanted to come to as well, Mark, is that you've lost a stone in a month, right? When you say you've plateaued, have you lost anything in the last week? Have you lost £1 or £2, which feels less relevant, but actually is still a good amount of weight to lose?
£0.5 is what I lost.
Okay.
And so I sat there and I thought, well, fuck. Now, I'll add another caveat into this. I've weighed myself since, and I'm another ½ kilo down. So another £1 or £2 down. So it's back moving again. And it was just seeing that movement on the scales was enough to think, yes, we're back in the game almost. It was just, and again, like I said, I've been down this road before, so I know this is coming, and I know, and this is the thing, and this is the key message, if you're hitting this plateau is for maybe a week, maybe 2 weeks, you might not lose a lot. But this is a time you just have to get your head down and crack on with it. Have faith, trust the process. And I mean, let's put this in footballing terms, right? When the Arsenal manager first started, what's his name again? Arteta. He had a bit of a rough start when he got the job. Okay, he won the FA Cup very early on. So maybe let's compare that. He won the FA Cup in his first season. So he had that initial weight loss. Let's compare it, yeah? And had a great result very early on. But for the couple of seasons that followed, had a bit of a struggle. But the message was trust the process. Much like this here, trust the process. Look at Arsenal now; they're flying. They're probably the best team in the league at the minute. I don't know if that will still be the case when this podcast goes live, but
Yeah.
imagine this. We're talking at the end of October, but I think that is it. It is a case of just trusting the process. Keep going, and you will see the results pick up again. We have that high at the beginning. It all goes really, really well. Then it slows up a bit. But if you just grunt it out almost, keep going, you'll come out the other side, and then the weight will start falling off again.
Definitely, mate. Definitely. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. And the other thing that I think you need to ask yourself is, why do you want to lose weight? Because what do we generally want to lose weight for? So I don't want to get too deep here, but what are you doing this for, Mark?
So I want to be healthier. I want to look better. I want to feel better.
Brilliant. So the first one you said there, Mark, right, was I want to be healthier, yeah? If you've plateaued, but you've stayed on your diet, you've been healthier, I assume, than what you were 6 weeks ago before you started your diet. So you're still successful, mate. Like, yeah, all right, the scales might not be giving you as much encouragement as what they were, but actually you've had a good week still. You've eaten well. You're trusting the process, just like you've been saying. But you've been healthier as well. You're not putting that crap in your body. You're not drinking that alcohol. You're not eating that ultra processed food. You've made good decisions this week, and that alone deserves a bit of a pat on the back from yourself. I kind of think that, and absolutely, I think you're right. Trust the process. Look, it will come. And even now, if you go from losing a stone in the first week to 2-3 pounds, say 1 to 2 pounds every week, actually that will compound over time, and that will become a significant amount of weight. Like you said, we're recording at the end of October. If you're away in June, July time on your summer holiday, by then, mate, that's a lot of weight that you'll lose between now and.
Yeah, it's so true, isn't it? It really is. And I think we've just got to, like I said, understand what's going on here. Like I said, your body is adjusting, losing weight. I've lost weight very quickly. My body's adjusting. It needs time to catch up with itself, assess where it is almost. Like I said, it's gone from eating some pretty shitty food and having a few beers midweek to back on it with water and black coffee. It's like, right, okay, we need to just take stock of this. And there is an element of that here. Your body is adjustment. There's also another thing that popped into my head and made me realise I'm now that little bit smaller, slimmer, lighter. I don't need as many calories as what I did 6 weeks ago to maintain the weight.
That's a fantastic point, mate. And that's something I was about to say, actually, is that I think when you're getting comfortable on a diet, not only are you losing weight, so you're absolutely right, you might want to drop it by 100 calories or whatnot for a day. But also, we can get quite lazy with diets. If you're on Slim and Well, are you sneaking in more sins than you realize? And have you been really on it for 3-4 weeks if you're healthy eating, and just doing a calorie deficit? And now all of a sudden you're adding a few oils that you might not have been adding when you were really in the zone. And is that having an impact? I think the other thing is, if you're plateauing, I think it's a really good opportunity to review what you're doing just to make sure you're on track as well and keep focused.
Yeah, 100%. And I think there's been a bit of that as well. And I wouldn't say, well, maybe I have cut a few corners or seen where I could cut a corner. And that was part of the conversation that I had with George, my consultant, on Monday when I weighed in and said, look, I've stayed the same. And it was like, right, again, let's look at your measurements around your belly and everything like that. But we'll see some progress there. Let's just take a moment just to review where you are and how you're doing. Could you do better? Could you eat a bit, like I said, could you just sort of like review sort of like your portion sizes, just what's going into your meals that you're cooking? Just sharpen up on those things. Now, you may still be bang on it and still be doing really, really well. And if that's the case, it's fine. Like we said, just dig deep and keep going. But if not, then maybe you've got a bit lapsed somewhere along the line. Use this time just to focus and think, right, can I do better? Am I doing everything as I should? Where could I just make slight improvements, shall we say? Or think of the cycling coach Dave Brailsford. It was all about the 1% improvements, wasn't it? It was making lots of 1% improvements, and all those 1% improvements add up to a big outcome, don't they?
They do, mate. Yeah, absolutely right. And do you know what, mate? This is a bit personal to you, but I know people will be going through the same thing if this episode's really resonating with them. So, Mark, you work in the gifts industry, right? We were talking about this before we come on to do this recording tonight. How you doing, Mark? You know, you all right, mate? How are you before we get going? Oh, so busy. Right, look, you work in the gifts industry, you sell into retail, right? This is the time of year where a lot of your customers are starting to look at Christmas, which means for you as a self-employed person, you've got a lot going on. So your stress levels are going to be up there, right? And we know from our experts on the show that stress can impact on things like this. So it could be an external factor that you've maybe not even considered yet.
Yeah.
That will perhaps pass. But again, do you know what, Mark? If it is stress for you and if that is having an impact, what's the best thing you can do? I believe when you're stressed, drink lots of water, eat healthy, help you keep focused and get a good night's sleep. Because that's the other thing. If you're not sleeping very well, is that impacting stuff? And again, the experts we have on here, we've had some really good people on the podcast over the last year or so. They say, don't they? Sleep is almost as important. Well, some of them say it's more important, the most important part of weight loss. So, how are you sleeping, Mark?
I tell you what, I'm actually sleeping quite well at the moment. And that is one thing I've often found when I've gone onto the Cambridge Weight Plan is I do, like I said, I'm not drinking, I'm not having any beers. And so I'm getting a good night's sleep. And that does work well. So, yeah. But these are the other things. And it's probably this holistic view, like, okay, your diet and exercise is one thing, but yeah, what else is going on? Are you managing your stress well? Are you sleeping well? And it's those kind of things you've got to all come into the equation. Yeah, like I said, I'm confident the scales will start moving properly again very soon. And yeah, we want to, like I said, it's not giving up now. Let's keep going. And yeah, you get through it, and it's just part of the process. I think that's the key message to give people that are in this. Hitting a plateau is just part of the ride. That's why we call it a weight loss journey. It's not a weight loss sort of like zip line where you just go down consistently week after week. There will be the odd week where you go up a bit, but it's part of the journey, and you've just got to focus on the habits. And if you do all the right things as you should, the overall outcome will be that you will be better off for it and you will lose that weight.
Yeah, I think that's a really good summing up there. Like I said, mate, I just want to cover this because I'm very conscious that we've got people on the podcast that are losing weight in different ways. There's a few people that I want to consider here. So again, at the beginning, I talked about if you've had surgery. And again, I just want to echo one of your points. If you have gone through that recently and you have plateaued very quickly, it can happen literally within a month. So you've gone from eating perhaps got thousands of calories a day to 400 or 500 a day, and you're not losing weight. That can be quite depressing, but stick with it. It's part of the journey and it happens a lot. And the other people that I think it would be worth just mentioning at the moment, because this is really popular, and just get your thoughts about this really, is if you're on weight loss drugs, so Monjaro, that sort of thing, because you've then got a bit, I think, of added pressure. Well, why am I not losing? And I'm spending hundreds of pounds a month on these jabs. And I'm not sure it is part of that journey. I don't know, Mark. I genuinely don't know. What is it part of the journey for people on the jabs, or?
Don't honestly know. We'll have to get another Monjaro loser on and hear their story. I mean, there's plenty of them now, isn't there? So we should be able to get another one quite easily.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's fair to say that anyone that's going through weight loss will come across a week where they haven't lost as much as they have done and may get a bit disheartened by that. And what we're just trying to get across to you is this is normal. This is part of it. Don't give up now just because you've had one shitty week. I know it can be a bit disheartening, but just double down your efforts, plow on through, and the next time you weigh yourself, you'll be looking lighter on the scales. I promise you.
Definitely agree. It's all part of the journey. Look at your wins, take them into account since you started this diet. Remind yourself of what you're doing it for and keep going, because time is your friend.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, carry on doing all the right things. Go to the gym if you're going to the gym, play football if you're playing football, keep all these things up. And the result will come good. Speaking of playing football, we should just mention if you've fancy a bit of Man v Fat, we have a little sign-up code on there, don't we, Darren?
We do, mate. Yeah, that's right. Well put there right at the end. But
we got to do it at the beginning, so we need to say it now, don't we?
Yeah, that's it. So look, if you want to join Man v Fat, then it's great. You go down, you play football, you get your on the pitch score, and then you get extra goals through weight loss. We have a promotional code, big fellas, when you sign up, and you get your sign up for just £1.
Yeah, not bad at all.
Exactly. It's a cheeky little saving. And do you know what, mate? Actually, very relevant to this episode, because if you are plateauing, anyway, if you are going through that stage, then having a good community around you is quite important. And Man v Fat gives you that. I think it gives you that ability to reach out to a couple of lads, get a bit of banter going, and actually realise, do you know what? The boys have been through the same, so it's perfectly normal. So yeah, I think the peer support thing, actually, if you are going through that at the moment, is another good thing to do. Reach out to your peers and get that support, the people that love you. Your wife, your kids, whatever it may be. Let them remind you of how far you've come, because they're generally the ones who are cheering you on.
Yeah, that's so true, isn't it? And yeah, like I said, you do need those people around you in this to support you, because like I said, they'll be telling you as well, look at you, you need those cheerleaders in your corner, don't you? Simple as that, really.
Yeah, you absolutely do. But I think that's a good way to sort of tie up this episode, Mark. I'm just talking about a few of the things we got on in the new year. We've got some great episodes coming out. But should we give a little hint into what one of those might be? A bit of a teaser?
I mean, we have a professor on motivation and mindset. That's going to be a banger, don't you think?
Mate, I think so. It's recorded already. It's a fantastic episode. But we're going to keep it to the new year, because we feel that coming up to Christmas is the wrong time to release that episode. And it's going to go down really well. I found it amazing. And I'm actually going to listen back to it in the new year. So if you're listening, get subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Follow us on Facebook, follow us on LinkedIn, Instagram, TikTok, wherever it may be. And yeah, we look forward to bringing you some more content.
I've got one more thing to say as well. We've just had another record-breaking month, haven't we? This is our best ever month. We're recording this at the end of October. This is our best ever month in terms of downloads. So if you're new to listening to us, thank you and welcome.
So, if you are new listening, again, get following us on socials, get interacting, and maybe even come on if you've got your own story. That'd be really good.
Definitely.
Right. Well, nice one. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon.